Good evening, everybody. We're in Parshat Vayeshev, and we're dedicating the Shiur לזכות כל עם ישראל, all the פצועים, all the hostages, all the injured people, all the חיילי צה"ל, and their success, and all כוחות הביטחון. We're in Parashat Vayeshev, and we're somehow in a crossway, because we have finished basically with the Avot, and now we're on the way to finish Sefer Bereshit, because Vayeshev Yaakov בארץ מגורי אביו בארץ כנען. I just show the טעמים. Vayeshev Yaakov בארץ מגורי אביו בארץ כנען. So Rashi brings a famous midrash that ביקש יעקב לשב בשלווה. יעקב was interested in sitting silently and serenely, and then קפץ עליו רוגזו של יוסף. So somehow we understand that sometimes in the middle of the life you think that it's time to rest, and then the anger or the occasion of Yosef jumped in. But it's not just in the middle of the life. Yaakov finished with everything in the last week parasha. He came back from Lavan. He had the encounter with Esav, with Saro shel Esav, and now it's really a time to finish with Avot, with a three patriarch era, and he understood that it's about to finish, because he understood his life like an individual, like Abraham has his own role in making something in the world. Yitzchak has his own role in making the opposite. He's gvura, he's more offensive, okay? And then we have Yaakov, and by finishing quarreling and confronting with Esav and Lavan, that's the end of life for him. But he doesn't know that he has another story, and Yosef will be the bridge between the patriarchs, the Avot, and the sons, and the Shvatim, the tribes. And we know that Rashi says in Parashat Vayechi that Yosef is in some middle stage, because Rashi says on the pasuk Misham ro'eh even Israel, that Yaakov blesses Yosef, that Me'el avicha v'yazrechka ve'el Shaddai v'varecheka, etc. And he says Misham, from there, ro'eh even Israel. Yeah, Yosef is a shepherd of the stone of Israel, and we've spoken a lot about the stones. So Rashi says there that even is a mixture of Av and Ben. Yes, when you put the two words together, Av and Ben, so the vet is swallowed in the bet, and then you have Evan, meaning to say that Yosef from the one side is mamash like an Av. We have four patriarchs, not three, but Yosef from the other side is one of the tribes, and therefore we are in mamash a bridge between the period of time of the Avot as individuals to the period of time of the tribes as Am Yisrael Kulam, and Yosef is in the middle, and therefore this parasha starts with Yaakov tries to sit silently because he understands that the whole quarrel is finished. He doesn't know that it just finished in one stage of being individuals, but not in the plural, being a tzibur, being an Am Yisrael. Where does the parasha start? That's a big question, because everybody can tell me that if you look, the parasha starts at למד זין פסוק א', וישב יעקב בארץ מגורי אביו, אלה תולדות יעקב יוסף, and קפץ עליו רוגזו של יוסף. So these adjacent psukim are connected. Yaakov wants to sit serenely in his place, and then אלה תולדות יעקב יוסף. Yosef is 17 and he has a problem with his brothers, and because of that there is an hatred and so on. And as I said, פרק למד זין, the Christian separation, division of the Tanakh, is dividing Perek Lamed Vav from one side and Perek Lamed Zayin on the other side, meaning to say that Parashat Vayeshev starts in its real place in Vayeshev Yaakov. Yaakov Yosef, and then Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef. But we might say, on the contrary, that the Parsha doesn't start with a natural Pasuk Aleph of Perek Lamed Zayin, but on Pasuk Bet. Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef, because we know that throughout Sefer Bereshit we have 11 times starting with dynasties. Ele Toldot Avraham, Ele Toldot Noach, Ele Toldot etc. and etc. Toldot Ishmael, Toldot Esav, and since we had in Perek Lamed Vav Ele Toldot Esav, so now we have Ele Toldot Yaakov. We have both sides, and there, if we understand like this way, the pasuk Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv is not connected to this parasha, but to the former one. The former one, the end of Parashat Vayishlach, talking about all the alufim, all the generals of Esav, and it ends that basically what do we talk? We don't talk just of the army of Esav. We talk about the settling of Esav in Eretz Edom, because after the encounter that we've spoken about last week, so Yaakov and Esav separate from each other, and then Esav goes to Edom, and Yaakov tells him, I cannot go, it will take me time, etc. And he goes back to Eretz Megurei Aviv, to Eretz Canaan, back to Yitzchak, to meet Yitzchak. So we might say that this first pasuk is mamash as a nikud, as a contradiction to the last week's ending of the parasha. We spoke about all the alufim of Esav, all the settling of Esav in Eretz Edom, and on the contrary, whereas Esav moved to the east, Yaakov moves to the west, to Eretz Israel, back to his father, to Eretz Canaan, and then he has his own Toledot, Toledot Yaakov Yosef. By saying that, so the separation of the two parashot, I don't want to say that we have to start from Pasuk Bet, but the real topic doesn't start on Pasuk Aleph, even though that Rashi, with the famous Rashi, connects it, but it starts with Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef. So let's go now, after knowing where we start and where we don't start, let's go to the Psukim themselves. Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef, ben 17 שנה היה רואה את אחיו בצאן. Look how I read this, because Ele Toldot Yaakov, you might say Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef, or Ele Toldot Yaakov, נקודתיים, Yosef ben 17 שנה. And then you can read the same thing like this. Yosef ben 17 שנה, תיק, קומה, היה רואה את אחיו בצאן, קומה, והוא נער את בני בלהה ואת בני בלהה אנשי אביו, ויבא יוסף את דיבתם רעה אל אביהם. It's a long sentence with a lot of information. We know about his age, we know what he's doing, he's a shepherd, and we know that he is na'ar, whatever it means, that he מסלסל בשערו, or that he makes fun, or that he's just 17, he's a teenager, and we know that he make a defamation of his brother. And if you look at the te'amim, you can see here how the posuk is a mixture. I read it like Ele Toldot Yaakov, Yosef ben 17 שנה, but you might read it Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef, ben 17 שנה, and then you might read the second half, ben 17 שנה היה רואה את אחיו, like one continuation, or two separate information. In any case, וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו, כי בן סיכונים הוא לו, ועשה לו כתונת פסים. Okay, so that's what מעורר את המחלוקת. ויראו אחיו, what does כתונת פסים mean? So usually we talk about a pajama or a zebra-like clothes, but what does it mean, zebra-like clothes? If you think it over, if you have a colorful or Technicolor, as it's called in the famous musical clothes, it means that it has a lot of colors. It means that you don't have one personality, one dignity. You have few of them, few colors. You can adjust yourself to the society in which you are, because even though that Abraham was very open-minded, he had his own shita, that he brought everybody, he was mekarev them to his shita, to be around Hashem. And Yitzchak was very, very sagur, and he didn't see people. He was very narrow-minded, if I might say, in his shita. And Yaakov, sometimes he comes to Lavan, sometimes he sits in the oil and in his tent and learn, but he he has to adjust himself to the one he talks with, but not to the society, because Yaakov never adjusted himself to Lavan's society. Just if Lavan cheats him, so he cheats back, but he doesn't live in a society. עם לבן גרתי ותרי"ג מצוות שמרתי, meaning to say that he never was a part of the Haran culture, whereas Yosef for sure will be Egyptian and will be considered not only Jewish but Egyptian, but mamash with the Egyptian culture. He's the first Jew, I think, in the history to undertake two identities, the Jewish identity and the foreign country identity. He really, it's not like that some people will understand that Yosef was a fifth column by Paro, that he was a Sar HaOtzar of Mitzrayim, and he had all the treasures of Mitzrayim, and he just made all the money to come to his brothers, the family, Am Yisrael, etc. But you know that it's not like that. Yosef took care of the Egyptian economy, and on the second hand, he was very Jewish, very shomer al Torah v'mitzvot, and he never sinned. So he needs a technicolor. He needs to be colorful. He needs to dress two dresses. One to dress with the Israeli society, and one to dress when he is in Egyptian society, and it's not easy at all. I don't think that one of the patriarchs could handle it, and therefore he needs this. And Vayir'u oto ki oto avihem, if we understand that, so the hatred is not just because lefi Pshat he got some present from the father, from Yaakov, that none of the brothers got, but because Yaakov identified him as a person which can deal with the foreign culture, whereas none of the brothers, none of the tribes were so unique or even capable of handling with the foreign society. And וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו, כיוון זקונים לו, ועשה לו כתון נתפסים, ויראו אחיו כי אותו אהב אביהם מכל אחיו, וישנאו אותו, ולא יחלו דברו לשלום. Now the dreams come here. First of all, ויחלום יוסף חלום, that's the first dream, ויגד לאחיו, ויוסיפו עוד שנאו אותו. That's the first חלום, right? ויאמר עליהם, שמעו נא החלום הזה אשר חלמתי. Is it another חלום, another dream, or just explanation, extrapolation of the first חלום? You have like נקודותיים. ויחלום יוסף חלום, okay, נקודותיים. ויאמר עליהם, שמעו נא החלום הזה אשר חלמתי. I'll tell you what happened. And then, if you understand like this, there are two חלומות, two dreams in the whole episode. But if you understand like what I suggested before, ויחלום יוסף חלום is a first חלום that the Torah doesn't tell us what it was about. ויאמר עליהם, שמעו נא החלום הזה אשר חלמתי, והנה אנחנו מעלמים עלומים. החלום הזה doesn't mean that חלום. It means a new חלום, a second חלום. and then זה ויחלום עוד חלום אחר, I don't mean about the second חלום, I mean the third חלום. So the question is, where we have here a lot of חלומות, 3 or just 2? If we have 3, so the Torah doesn't mention to us what the first one was, just that they hated him more because of that. ויאמר עליהם שמעונה החלום הזה אשר חלמתי, והנה אנחנו מעלמים עלומים בתוך השדה, והנה קמה אלומתי וגם ניצבה, והנה תסובנה אלומותיכם ותשתחוונה לאלומתי. So it's difficult for me to translate it. I assume that you know how to translate it, but he saw some packs of wheat, okay, or something like this, and he is one of them, okay? אנחנו, he's considering himself as one of the brothers. מעלמים אלומים בתוך השדה. Everybody has his own aluma, his own package of wheat, whatever. והנה קמה אלומתי וגם ניצבה. So the only one of the packages which is not on the floor, thrown, but קם וגם ניצב, is mine. What is this? What does he stress here? That I am the only one that is bolet, is prominent out of all the aremot. Okay, you have a lot of stacks of tvuah, and then you see grains, and then you see mine, which is standing. And remember that throughout the old Torah, the person that is nitzav is a person that is chosen. Okay, you have atem nitzavim hayom kulchem, meaning to say you are not just people that I cannot see, but I can define yourself because you are nitzav. You are standing in front of me. I can see who you are. That's the whole matara and goal of the minyanim at the beginning of Parashat Bamidbar, that Am Yisrael is just a lot of people, and Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, no, I count each one of you and you come in front of me. And Ramban, famous Ramban, says at the beginning of Parashat Bamidbar that each one stands in front of Moshe and he gives him his identity. The same thing happens here. I stand, you all of you don't stand, but I am the only one that stands. ותשתחוונה לאלומתי. So then, at the end of the day, since my own stack is the only one who stands, therefore you bow to mine. But pay attention that at the beginning he speaks like one of them. אנחנו מעלמים אלומים. I am a part of you. I'm just prominent. I'm just better, I'm just more noticeable than all of you, but I am a part of you. I am a brother. ויאמרו לו אחד. Pardon? Did anybody want to ask? If not, I'll go on. ויאמרו לו אחד, המלוך תמלוך עלינו, המשול תמשול בנו, ויוסיפו עוד שנוא אותו על חלומותיו ועל דבריו. Okay? So, ויאמרו לו אחיו המלוך תמלוך עלינו, it's very מובן, because he said, I am a part of you, but I am more than you because my stack קמה וגם ניצבה. Another ראיה to what I said before, that there are 2 חלומות till here, is a plural לשון of the Torah here, על חלומותיו ועל דבריו, because one is חלום הזה, the second is a חלום הזה אשר חלמתי, and the first one is a ויחלום יוסף חלום, so they hated him twice because of his 2 חלומות. And then you have to understand what the first חלום is, because I can just guess. I have no idea. The Torah doesn't tell us what it was about. Let's see the second or third חלום, and then we'll try to imagine what the first one was. ויחלום עוד חלום אחר. Again, might be the second or the third. ויספר אותו לאחיו, ויאמר, הנה חלמתי חלום עוד, והנה השמש והירח, ו11 כוכבים משתחווים לי. Who is the 11 כוכבים? The brothers, right? I am the 12. I have 11 brothers, okay? Why didn't he count Dinah, by the way? Dinah, I heard just it's like a sort of a joke that Dinah, according to the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, was his because of Dinah and the rape of Shechem ben Chamo, Osnat was born, according to the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. And Osnat was the daughter of Dinah and Shechem, and Yosef married out Osnat בהמשך הפרשה. So people say that you can never dream of your mother-in-law that bowing to you, okay? Because Dinah was his mother-in-law. So even in your dreams, you can dream of your brothers, your father, your mother, but never your mother-in-law. Okay, that was just a joke. Okay, so the 11 stars are the brothers, okay? Who is the Shemesh? Who is the Yarech? According to the famous Rashi, the Shemesh and Yarech is his father and his mother, okay, Rachel. But who am I? הנה חלמתי חלום עוד, והנה השמש והירח, ו11 כוכבים משתחווים לי. Okay, in the second חלום, it's not just another dream. It's חלום from another type of dream, because he is not a part of them. He doesn't say that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed to the 12th star. He didn't say that I am a part of you. I am much more than you. I am much more than the stars. I'm much more than the sun. I'm much more than the moon. Who am I? I'm God. Okay? Because you might understand in this Chalom that Yosef has a real megalomania, okay? That he really thinks himself not just a prominent one of many, but something very, very, very different, okay? And that, ויספר אל אביו ואליך, ויגרבו אביו, ויאמר לו, מה החלום הזה אשר חלמת? Okay, so usually we understand אבוא נבוא, אני ועמך ואחיך להשתחוות לך ארצה, that he doesn't like the content of the חלום, of the שמש וירח 11 כוכבים משתחווים לי. But you might understand that what bothered Yaakov was not the content כל כך, but more that Yosef is megaloman, that he thinks himself as not just one of many. He thinks himself as something unique, something godly, something that doesn't is not one of the system, okay, a part of the system. And here,
while you're having a joke, I have to add very, very quickly, not actually a joke, a true story, but it's on the same theme. There was a very famous Dayan on the London Beth Din who found himself in the High Court in London, and the judge he asked him to explain who he was, and he said that I'm a Dayan on the Beth Din, and I am a world expert on so and so. To which the judge said, well, shouldn't you be slightly more humble if you're a rabbi? This is very... So the Dayan turned around and said, Your Honor, I'm on oath to tell the truth. I am a world expert.
yeah. What you have with Yosef?
I have a question.
Yeah, sorry.
Moshe's giving it to you.
Where is
In the
it?
first column, Yosef says he's one of the Alumim. But in the second one, doesn't say stars.
Oh, I have to watch.
Sorry, yeah. And the second one, he is not a part of the stars.
No, but he doesn't say the brothers of the stars or his father. It just talks about the stars, the sun and the moon and the stars bowing to him.
Yeah.
Doesn't say we've as usual we've taken a Rashi interpretation and decided that's what it always is. But there's nothing to say that he was suggesting that the brothers were the stars.
Okay, but agreed. But even if you don't take Rashi, it's even worse because you don't talk about the family, you talk about the biggest things in universe, Shemesh, Yareach, and Kochavim. So who am I? I am God. I'm more than universe, okay? You cannot interpret it otherwise, either like Rashi or not, but he talks about the biggest things that we know on earth, and he says that they all bow to me, okay? So it must say that Me'al HaShemesh is just me, it's just Elokim, and he really has a godly megalomania of who he is. And
the interpretation isn't Rashi's, it's Yaakov's.
Yaakov is a Shemesh.
Yaakov says, your mother, your mother, and your 11 brothers.
Right.
That's how Yaakov interprets the dream. So Rashi didn't make up the interpretation.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But Rashi interprets, or Rashi based on the Midrash, says that Yaakov interpreted it this way. Okay. But in any case, Yosef must speak out of the system, okay? I don't mind if it's out of the system of the stars, or out of the system of the world, or universe, or whatever. But he says, unlike the first Chalom or the second Chalom, that he counts himself as one of many. Here he has a really, I am something unique. And now I want
and even the dead bow down to me.
Leading to?
No, that if the Yareach is your mother, my mother's dead. Despite the fact that she's dead, she's still bowing to me.
Okay, that's the problem of Rashi. Okay, בסדר. אבל בסדר. I don't mind Rashi, not Rashi. I'm just talking about basically about the system. Okay, so what do you have in a real Chalom? Usually when we dream, so we have some, let's say when we were kids and we were dreaming, or I don't know if you dream, some people dream, some people don't, but you have a very sophisticated metziut or something that you know that it's not real in real world, but you think that you're a king, you think that, and then you get up in the morning. Let's imagine that you remember what you have dreamt about, and you say, "Oh, forget about it. It's just a dream." And it's a dream. I'm a millionaire. I'm the king of the world. But come to earth. I'm not that. The gdula of Yosef, and I think it's a gdula from one point of view, is that he gets up in the morning and says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to dream about it. I am a part of it. It tells me something. I want to bring you an example from the Tanakh. You remember that in Perek Yudzayin of Shmuel Aleph, Goliath stands and curses the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and Shaul is very afraid of him, and he doesn't know who to fight because Goliath came and say, "Choose me one, I'll choose one. I'm the representative of the Palestinians, and you choose one that will represent Am Yisrael." Very interesting proposal at all. I mean, it saves a lot of lives, but what does it mean? One against one, that he sees himself as a Saro shel Esav, as the power of the Palestinians, and you'll choose somebody to choose the power of Am Yisrael. It's not just the Rambo, okay? Because maybe my Rambo is you don't make Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson. It doesn't mean anything, okay? Maybe I'll better you better, but it's two players on the same court. It doesn't mean anything. But what he apparently meant was that you choose some koach, or the power, symbolizing the koach of Am Yisrael. And then Shaul is in a problem because he's very afraid, He doesn't know what to do, and David comes like a small young person and suggests himself. What does he say? So he has to he cannot make a failure. He cannot אסור לו לטעות, okay? It will cost too much, okay? It will cost too much because all Am Yisrael will be slaves to the Palestinians according to the contract with Goliath. So what does David say? David said, he's convincing Shaul and said, I'll tell you why I am the person to do it, because I have met, one time I was a shepherd and I've seen a lion and I've seen a bear, גם את הארי וגם את הדוב היכה עבדיך, and they both came on the flock of sheep, and I succeeded to hit both of them, and I'm very, very strong. Therefore, I can hit Goliath. What does it mean? I mean, okay, you're very, very sophisticated, you're very strong, but who said if you don't look strong, even if you have some past that showed that you're brave, I wouldn't bet on your chances to win over Goliath. So apparently what David says and understands is something more deeper. David says that I am just a shepherd, and not many shepherds have met lions, have met bears, have met lions and bears together. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to meet them both, it's not just to show me that I am stronger than both of them, it's to show me something, to take something for life. And if I have met this situation, I have to do something with it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never puts you in a situation that doesn't belong to your schedule, to your curriculum, to your Korot Chaim. And that what David tells Shaul is something very, very deep, that by encountering both a lion and a bear, it's not the fact that I succeeded to hit them both, but I understand that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to tell me something, that I'll meet in the future a more realistic lion and a bear together, which is united in Goliath, and I'll succeed. And that convinces Shaul. And I think that Yosef makes the same thing here, and that is koach. Yosef has dreams, but instead of like everybody getting up in the morning, it says, like the Gemara in Brachot has, in Perek HaRoeh, talks about a lot of dreams, and the Gemara there has few blots that the Gemara deals with the dreams, and one shita of the Gemara is that everything symbolizes something, and one shita in the Gemara that they are all nonsense, and chalom bli dvarim betelim, and you should just say it's like ayin hara, neglect it, and it will fade away. So Yosef doesn't get up and say it'll fade away. He says that if I have a megaloman dream, it says that I am very special, okay? And he convinces, firstly, himself. And that's the big self-esteem. But I must say, if you have so much self-esteem, on the one hand, you're a genius, on the other hand, you're a Michiganer, okay? The difference is not very, very big. But Yosef really understands and believes in himself. I think that he has so strength in the future to be by Eshet Potiphar and to be kicked out of his family without HaKadosh Baruch Hu. According to Chazal, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu was a part of the minyan of the tribes. They had just 9, and they needed the 10th. According to one shita in the Midrash, HaKadosh Baruch Hu signed on kicking him away from his Beit Aviv to Egypt. So when he has the opportunity to sin with Eshet Potiphar, and on the other hand, he might say, I belong. What do I belong to? HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, the owner of the system, doesn't see me as a part of it. But here, when Yosef thinks himself of the owner of the system himself, of God himself, that enables him to think that he is ke'ilu parallel to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you interpret it. It enables him to believe, to emphasize to himself that I have really something really amiti, that I'll succeed and I'll use my power in the future. And that what he tells Yaakov. Yaakov is very, very afraid, but shamar et hadavar. He really thinks about it. And now we can come to the first chalom, if it is. We said that there might be 3 chalomot, and the first chalom is not even defined, but is just, when you get up in the morning and you have something like good atmosphere, or something that even without remembering the details of the chalom, you have the good feeling and you take it into your life, you take it into the day. That's what Yosef has. Yosef has a godly feeling. In the first chalom, he doesn't talk about it. The second chalom, he talks about it, but explicitly. But before that, he just have a godly feeling, and he uses it in the future. To finish, I just want to tell you a nice. It's not idea. It might be a vote of Talmid Chochem called. I don't know if you knew him, Reb Shalom Rosenblit. He was the founder of Pelech. He was a very famous Talmid Chacham, teaching in the Midrashiyah in Pardes Chana, and he passed away like 20 years ago. But he was a karov of mine. He was a brother of my grandmother. He said something very nicely about this pasuk. When they do what they do, וישלחו את כתונת הפסים, ויביאו אל אביהם ויאמרו לו, זאת מצאנו, הקרן הכתונת מן חיים, לא, ויקירה, ויאמר כתונת בני, חיה רעה אכלת הוא. טורף Yosef. So the pshat is that some animal ate him, and ויקרא יוסף שנותיו, and he's mourning over Yosef. But he said, and it's just nice to finish with it, חיה רעה אכלת הוא. He means the wilde chaya, he said it in Yiddish, the wilde chaya in each of the tribes. One tribe is a lion, one Yehuda. One tribe is a Binyamin, is a wolf. One tribe is a snake. One tribe is a ayala, is a deer. But each one of them has his wilde chaya, that because of that he killed Yosef. How did he know that? Because pay attention that when the people talking about, they never mention his name. וישחטו, וישלחו ויביאו ויאמרו זאת מצאנו, הקרן הכתונת בנך. They don't mention the name of Yosef. They talk about him like it, like third form. Okay? And Yaakov understands, and that's why he says Tarov Toraf Yosef. The name Yosef is not mentioned by them, so they cannot talk about him. They cannot mention the name. They are the people, the guilty people, because Chayara Achaltau, they couldn't undertake the wilde chaya in each one of them, and the hatred that was on them, they couldn't do anything with it. So before finishing, we have less than a minute, and Bezat Hashem, we have to see something. Maybe we can do it with a different program, and then we'll have more than 40 minutes. We don't need so much, but I don't want to be stressed out by these 40 minutes. So we just sum up that the Chalomot at the beginning of the parasha give you 2 opportunities to think that Yosef was a dreamer and a fulfiller of the dreams, or that he was just a Meshigener, megaloman, and sometimes